and your wife, you all have become relationship experts.
We have. It's interesting. It's interesting putting it like that because I never really think of myself as an expert of anything, but that is very much true. We've somewhat put ourselves into that category.
Well, what made you do that? What sort of led
Honestly,
you to that?
We just wanted to be people that we thought that we needed growing up. When we were young in our marriage, we didn't have a lot of resources and a lot of guidance to really help us stay together, help us find ways to fix the problems that we had. And we kind of wanted to, after we've gotten through that, we feel it's our duty to give back and essentially teach those that didn't have the opportunity to learn how to do what we did. And I mean, I believe that every marriage has a possibility of getting better. Honestly, I fully believe that our society doesn't know how to communicate properly. We're not good at communicating with other people yet. And so a lot of relationships fail because of bad communication. I was just talking to, we did a workshop this weekend, and I was actually talking about how relationships are like businesses. And from my knowledge, that's how a lot of businesses fail as well, with poor communication. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is the main thing? You know, I've been married a few times. Okay. It took me about 3 to halfway get it right. Okay. And what do you think is the main block to communications, you know, between you and your wife, your significant other?
First, it was definitely perspective. A lot of it was perspective. We did not have enough of each other's perspective. We were more so stuck in our own. This is how we were raised. This is how we were brought up. This is what we saw for a marriage. One of the biggest things, like I grew up in a household where arguing was prevalent. My parents argued. They always yelled and argued. I saw that growing up. And so I thought that that's how was a decent way to communicate. That would be fine. You know, that's how my wife, I was like, my wife's going to argue with me. She's going to yell. If I yell, she's going to yell back. And that was one of the biggest communication hiccups that we had in the beginning. Was it was like, okay, I yell, she withdraws. And it's like, whoa, what's going on? Fast forward, being able to get into therapy and just like just literally talking it out and learning how to communicate with her more, I started to realize that these are based on things that she grew up with. This is how she learned things. I never took the time to view her perspective on what was going on. I just always assumed that it should go how I thought it would go.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Now, you sort of slid something in there. It's interesting. A lot of couples resist therapy.
I honestly think therapy, I think it's needed. Personally, I think that it gave us a mediator, and it gave us the tools that we needed to work through what we wanted to get through. Therapists are, especially if you find the right one that really wants to feed into you, they can save your marriage. Honestly, they can save your life. They are good at uncovering, helping you, guiding you to uncover the things that you don't necessarily think about on a regular basis, that don't even come to your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, you often hear people say, think out of the box, but if you're in the box, it's hard to think out of the box. Hard. Yeah.
And that's what they're able to help you do. Our therapist early on started giving us different perspective. And that's really what a lot of what she would tell me were concepts and thoughts and ideas that I had never considered, I never thought about. She actually had asked me at one point in time, as I was telling about the hurt that I was dealing with my wife, she would ask me, she was like, what do you need from her to help you overcome it? And that was something I had never thought about. It was like, oh, like you said, that was an out of the box question. While I'm stuck in the box, I'm not thinking about what can be helped or how do we fix this. I'm thinking about, this is the problem. I just want to communicate the problem. She was able to see the whole picture and be able to communicate that to me in a positive way. And so I think that, like I said, the right therapist can definitely help you to that. She gave us skills. She gave us just information and different thoughts that we should go ahead and look into. And our therapist would be the main reason as to why we even got the knowledge that we have now to be able to give back to other people. We got it while I was in the military, so we got it for free, and it was very fortunate. But the value that she brought to us and just in changing our mindset and getting us to start thinking differently about our marriage is invaluable. It's priceless.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, just the fact that you all could get together on it. I know many times I've seen young couples, and I've seen like the husband say, "Well, you get the therapy. I'm fine." Or the wife says, "You need therapy. I don't need it. You're the one with the problem."
There was definitely a little bit of that at first. I was more so. I grew up in a damaged household, so I knew I had issues. I knew going in. I was like, "Yo, look, man, I know I got problems. I need therapy. I'm cool getting it." She was more on the side of, "I don't need therapy. Like, we don't need it." But because we were in the military, it was like a mandated thing based on the problems we were having in our marriage. They were like, "Nah, y'all gotta go to therapy. Like, you're going to class, Bennett. You're signed up Wednesdays. You got marriage classes. That's what you're at. If your wife is showing up, y'all showing up, or y'all dealing with whatever y'all gonna deal with." And it was like, okay. So we would start going. It would be more so me talking at first, and then she would start talking, and then it's we talking, and then we both started just taking in information and realizing that there was just a lot that we had that was missing as far as information that we needed to help us stay married. And man, when we got the information, it changed. And of course, she was very good at listening to us and helping us just hear the other side of the story and hear each other out and really connect with each other. That's what she was really good at.
Oh, wow. Justice said something. Justice said, "I wish that I'd known that in the military. That therapy could have helped our marriage." Wow.
See, we didn't know about it. That's why I feel like it was a God-given situation, because we didn't know about it. We had got into an argument one time while she was pregnant, and it resulted in the police basically getting called down. And we were in Arizona at the time. That's where I was stationed at. So when you're in Arizona, if the police get called, someone has to go to jail. That was like their policy or whatever it was. So it was like, okay, I'm going to jail then. So I went to jail. And their other policy was, if you're military, this is what they told me, because I was military, I had to go into the hole for 36 hours. I'd be on suicide watch immediately. So I got in there, never been to jail before. I'm like 21. I think I was 20 years old. Never been to jail. Never dealt with nothing. And they had me in a straitjacket in a solitary confinement cell for like 36 hours. So it was like, it was crazy. It was really, for me, that was really hey, this is not where you're supposed to be at. How did you get here? Let's, a wake up moment for me. But because my command knew that I was this was not like me. I'm a stellar Marine. I'm good at my job. I'm always on it. They were like, he needs counseling. You're going. And it was like you don't have a choice. I had never heard of these classes. I didn't know that these classes were offered. It was just like by luck of the, not, I would say by luck, but by by an unfortunate circumstance that God rearranged and gave me some good information out of it. I was very grateful for those classes afterwards. When they were like, "Hey, you're going to therapy. You have marriage classes, parenting classes." I was like, "Sign me up. Give me the help."
Yeah. That's interesting, man, because to get into something together, you have to have this basic fundamental commitment that we want to be together.
Exactly.
So many people already throwing the towel before they ever get in the ring.
I'm glad you called it a ring, because that's what it is. I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to actually fight.
Yeah.
One of the real ways, honestly, I fixed my marriage was, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Prayer Room? Or, sorry, not Prayer Room, War Room. No. I think it's called War Room. Yeah. I created a war room. Yeah. Legitimately. When I had got out of jail I was in there for 3 days. So or 2.5 days. 1.5 days. 1.5 days. When I got out, I tore out the closet, got my Bible, started putting up verses. And I promise you, like, it helped. It was a major part of, I think God knew my heart, that knew that I wasn't trying to be who I was at the time. I was trying to be better than that. And he took it.
Yeah. DeVonte, as you're talking, You know, the Life Skill Institute, you know, we did, for years, we did parent empowerment training. And our motto was that living is a skill, master it. That you have to learn, practice, and master the skills of living. And marriage is really a living skill.
Absolutely. It's, man, what, like, completely that. I was talking about that the other day. We're like caught. Marriage is literally, that's why they put it in the Bible, it's two people becoming one. So it's taking two, I guess you could say, pieces of a clock and trying to get them to move in harmony to make the clock work.
Yeah.
When those pieces are damaged, when those pieces got problems, they got extra cogs, the cogs aren't fitting, it's the skill of being able to adjust, change, work with someone else, communicate what goes where to make the cog go in harmony. Like, marriage really teaches you how to communicate on a deeper level with other people.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you know, and I look at so many of the young people today. I know you were talking when we were talking before about your kids and social media and telephones and all of that. And as I observe young people in this digital, you know, existence, it seems that the telephones and the computers has eroded their ability to communicate.
Oh, absolutely. So much so, I don't even think people really understand that or really pay attention to that, because it's giving people the ability to fake who they are and give a fake, I would say a fake, but not be true to how they would act and communicate in person. They wouldn't, when you're in person, you're able to communicate differently. You're able to take things differently. You're able to understand differently.
Yeah.
When we're on the phone doing that too much and interacting with so many people and so much just negativity, especially when it comes to just like being in a relationship or whatnot, it makes it so much harder to communicate with someone who's in the real world. The virtual world is far more appeasing than the real world, especially when you have issues in the real world.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a I think it's a Chinese proverb, and it says, "He who runs out of words casts the first stone."
Absolutely.
And when I see people with their faces glued into the phone, and even the dialogue, I noticed that and I'm not knocking young people, but to be aware, we've come from a different era in which there were no phones. I mean, when I was a kid, and I just dated my phone number only was 5346. That was my phone number. And then after there were like 5 people in the whole neighborhood that had phones and party lines. You could hear one another talking. And so much community. A phone was the last resort. All the communication was face to face, and you could see them, and the hand gestures, those nonverbal communications. And when you take that out of the picture, it's hard to communicate.
It makes miscommunication too easy. And that's
I see
that's my brother
has joined us. Thank you, and Miss Grace. Thank you. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. We sort of chose this. It's Father's Day is coming up.
Very true.
Yeah, and so now you all have what, 3 kids?
All boys.
Okay. So, 3 boys. Oh man.
All day.
All day.
Yes.
And you all homeschool them too, right? That's 24. That's 26.
The moment I walk into the room, I'm bombarded with questions from 3 different people, show and tell all the time. It's nonstop. They know that like school legitimately doesn't stop. Learning is continuous. The conversation is always going with us.
Yes. Now, what advice would you give a young father? You are, I think, like I said, you and your wife have become really family experts in motion. What if there were 3 things to tell a young father who's just starting out in fatherhood, bringing all the baggage that they bring to the relationship, like I'll say 3, but whatever
Let's
you
see.
thought.
I think because you said the baggage too, I want to definitely address that one then. So the first thing would be to look at your child as the purest version of yourself. That has really helped me to see, like, perfect example is my son yesterday, or my youngest son has a problem, not a problem, but he likes to yell at people. He loves to yell. He loves to yell at his brothers. And it hit me the other day while he had upset me when I yelled at him. I normally don't yell at him. I normally don't yell at any of my sons. I don't have to yell at him. He's the youngest one. He had been hitting his brother all day. And I had to, like, hey, raise my voice quite high to get his attention. And then I realized, I was like, oh yeah, you don't necessarily know that yelling is bad because daddy yells at you. So you're doing this based off of behavior that you've seen from me. Okay, let me continue to try to essentially erase that stain or that mark that now I've placed on it and try to better myself so that you can be a more pure version. And by keeping that in my mind, keeping the thought of keeping their purity, keeping them pure, keeping them healthy and whole has in turn reflected, it's changed how I completely parent, how my own self-talk, it's changed myself entirely. So number 1 would be look at your child as your purest version of yourself. Number 2 would be to truly observe your child and engage them. Just be with them. I've learned so much more about myself from hanging out with my sons than I have almost any other thing that I've ever done. They are direct reactions to everything that I am. They're reactions and reflections. So whatever, any behaviors that I see in them, it's pretty much mimicry of me. If I see something that I don't like, 9 times out of 10, they learned it from me. And it's probably something that I have to correct within myself. So it also allows me, though, to see what they do like and what they're good at and watch them grow. Watching them grow at something, especially something that I've taught them, is outstanding. Like, it's so beautiful to watch what you give to someone and watch them take it and make it their own. So, like, exactly, it's like watching yourself from a different lens. Exactly that. That's why I would say observe them, because the more you engage and observe them, you really learn about yourself. Both my sons just got their orange belt in karate, and so they tested the same day I tested for my brown belt. But watching them test and getting that confidence and how they were just like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I could just see myself when I was younger, like, oh man, okay, let me do my karate. My son, my oldest, has started training on his own now. And that's something that I couldn't get him to do for the longest time. He just turned 10, and now he's on his own training. He's on his own doing his own programs and routines and stuff. My middle son is talking about, Daddy, we need a routine. I'm like, yeah, I've been trying to get you guys to learn about routines forever. But, like, I'm seeing them grow as I'm growing and as we're growing together. So observing and just really engaging with them, just being present. And then the third one would be, don't be scared. Just do your best. Yeah, just do your best. Don't be scared. I feel like a lot of fear holds us back. Like, we get scared of doing the wrong things, especially as dads, because a lot of us didn't have ultimately, the best examples. A lot of, especially young fathers, don't come from the best of backgrounds, or they might not come from backgrounds where they really saw their father often because they were working all the time or for whatever reason. And so that leaves a lot of fear as to whether or not you're doing the right thing. And most people, we tell women all the time, just do what's natural. It's kind of the same thing for men. Just do what's natural. Don't be scared. Do what feels right. Like you said, if you're viewing yourself, when you really view your child as just a more pure version of yourself, what did you need? What would you have wanted in that moment? And do it like that. Don't be scared. Just give them what you would want.
Wow. Man, I think the purest version of yourself, observe and engage, and don't be scared. Well, as a dad myself, with each one of my children, it's like I was at different stages in my life. My oldest son, I don't think I knew what I was doing.
Yep, that's how it works. Yeah.
My middle son, at least I knew I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And then by the time my daughter came along, I had a good idea by this time. But this took like years to get there.
Man, I'm telling you, when my wife was telling me, when we talk about how her mindset was versus my mindset when we had the boys, she would tell me those things. She was like, I didn't know what I was doing. It was just natural. And it was like, man, I really started thinking about it. I was like, I guess I didn't do what was natural. I did what I thought I should have been doing. And that was the problem. It wasn't me just doing what, okay, this feels right. Like, if you're crying, let me pick up my son. Like with my youngest, I don't have to. I understand he's 4 now, so I'm like, I can realize and see that as a 4-year-old, he has a certain behavior because he's 4 years old. When I was younger with my oldest, it was like, what are you doing? You're 4 years old. You should have been did this. But like you said, as you get older, it gets better. But then I just continue to, like I said, don't be scared. Try new things. As long as I know, I can say that I did my best with the knowledge that I had.
Yeah.
And so that's,
that's the best
exactly
what you had to do it with.
That's it.
That's really all about. That way.
That's absolutely it. That's why we've had to talk about like that just with my parents. Like we've my parents raised me completely different from the other two. My youngest, my little sister, they definitely understand what they're doing more so now, and so she's got support and everything with it. And now I'm just like, but as an adult, I'm like, I can't be mad at y'all. You did what you did. You did with what you could. I can't be mad at you. I can't fault you for anything that you've done that you didn't know. Now that we're older though, it's like, hey, you can learn now. Now we can talk about how to do better. And that's why I'm so big on observing and engaging our children, because if we see what's not working and we're engaging them and we're able to figure out what's not working and we allow them to, we keep the doors of communication open, we can make the changes as we go. We can continue to just get better with them as we go.
Yeah. Wow. I tell you, man, I'm going to play this for my son. My son is evolving. He has 4 kids. He's evolving. And this is and when I look at him, I don't think I set that great an example. I did what I thought I did. I was so much into being a provider. It's like, I got to provide and make sure you go to school and have this and have that. And that was understandable, but that really had a whole lot less importance than I gave it.
See, that right there, that comes from knowledge. We didn't have literally talk about this, like it constantly goes to me because I've done a lot of self-work, or I guess it's like the shadow work. I've done a lot of self-reflection, and a lot of my own problems weren't my problems. They were problems that were passed down to me from generations. Like I have very similar. My grandfather was a CEO at UCLA Medical. I remember him always being at work, always being gone. But I remember he provided the best of everything. He didn't always set the best example as a father to what I can now as an adult I can see, because of based on like the stuff that my uncles and them are dealing with and whatnot. But at the same time, I can see that, well, he was providing. That man was a CEO at UCLA Medical. He was, for that era, he's doing what we knew a husband was supposed to do. He's doing what he had to do. Now it's just about, okay, hey, we got y'all. We couldn't have this new information if it wasn't for the sacrifices that y'all made. So now that y'all made the sacrifices, now that I look at it like this, the role is now flipped. It's now our job to go out and make the sacrifices, learn the information, make the changes, do whatever we can do, and spread it as peacefully as possible so that everybody gets it. But then to the next generation, they understand both sides of the story. My sons all the time, they're like, man, wow. Because me and my parents, we don't have the best relationship right now. Like even right now, things are rocky. But my sons have seen the arguments and the mistreatments on both sides and whatnot, and they'll be like, man, Papa Chico or Mama T, they didn't do good like that. They're mean. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. You're right. They're not me. They haven't done the stuff that I've done. But you don't understand that your Mama T wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and goes to work every single day and been making 2-hour trips and doing all sorts of stuff that I did for 2 years, and I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. I can't do it. She's been doing it for 18 plus years. That's a different type of strength. So it's like, I can't. Yeah. Hey, you do what you do. That's what it is. But now that's why I feel even more obligated to get the knowledge and the information and help try to pass it out so that we don't have to have these same, I don't have to watch my mama struggle. my children don't have to do the same things that I went through. I don't have to be out of the home, and we can just do things differently.
Yeah. Well, I think in our era, when we, especially dealing with kids, I found for my kids that love is spelled T-I-M-E. They don't understand anything about the job and the where and the money necessary if you were or were not there.
That's the information that we didn't have though. That's literally the information that now we're starting to see, like, oh, and it's like everyone who the more when I got to college, I started really researching fatherhood. It wasn't I was going to school for psychology, and the more I was studying psychology, the more it made me think about fatherhood specifically and child psychology. And so as I was studying psychology, I realized that we're just now coming to the forefront where we're studying what men are even dealing with, where we're studying that children need time with their fathers, that their fathers played a prevalent role. Because this whole time we've been pushing as society, men, go be provider, go provide. And we got hella good at it. But then all of our children, like generations of children now are across the board, are missing their parents. And they're missing the vital part that, well, if they didn't tell us, no one told me, my parents were gone. So it's like, I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to be doing. We don't have the technology, the information yet saying that this is not the right way. And so it's it's like we can't be mad at it. It's literally like you said, we didn't know. You guys could have known. You're too busy providing.
Yeah.
Like, you're too busy providing.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know for myself, I had to finally forgive my parents, because I had my issues and and just forgive them and just say, I know they did the best with what they had to do it with. My expectations of what I thought they should have done were not reasonable based on their level of consciousness and their frame of reference.
Literally, and that's the soul searching part right there, because that's where it comes down to. It comes down to I have to forgive them. I have to forgive them because they did the best. If I was in their shoes, could I have done better, or would I have been like? It's like I said, it's all about perspective. That's why communication and perspective have been just two of the biggest things that I've really come to realize as the problems with people communicating with each other. We're not able to see the other side, the other perspective of the other person, or we're just not communicating correctly because of whatever biases, whatever patterns that we already have.
Yes. Wow. Communication. Well, I'll tell you, Papa Bennett, man, I know my assistant, Sade, is on the line. Sade tells me, she says, a half hour, that's all you guys are going to go. I know you guys can talk
Absolutely
all night.
Can. We sure can.
So we're gonna, yeah. But, there's so much that as a man, to have to first acknowledge that you don't know. Half is thinking that you really don't. And children show you, man. One of the first songs I ever wrote was a song called Listen. And there was a verse that says, listen to the children seldom lie. Let them show your soul to you. Let them make you cry.
Oh my God. No, literally. Like, it was, I think that was, my son called me fat one day and I lost weight. He was just like, Daddy, you're fat. And it was like, I can't be mad at you. You're right. And it was like, okay, gotta change it. You listen to them. They will, like you said, they will tell you. I let my sons hold me accountable because they're the only ones who are going to keep it 100%. They're going to tell me about myself. They're going to tell me everything that, even if I don't agree with it, they're going to tell me about myself.
Wow. Well, DeVonte, I sure thank you. I see Sade said we need a part 2. I'll be very obedient. I think one of the things about being a good dad and a good husband is
right.
to know
Look,
when to
that
be
part,
obedient.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Oh, yeah. Yes.
But any final thoughts,
man,
DeVonte?
honestly, just for all the fathers out there right now that are listening, just keep doing your best. There's dad guilt is a real thing. Don't let it eat you alive. Do your best. If you don't feel like you're doing your best, figure out how you can do better. It's that simple.
Yeah. And I think I'll add, forgive yourself for past mistakes. You know, forget at the time you didn't know any better. Now you look, oh man, I was a terrible father. At the time, you were doing the best you could with what you had to do it with. Okay. Well, hey, my friend, thank you so much. Thank you for listening tonight. Please share this. This is our Father's Day. It's funny, this worked out, man. 2 fathers. And that's even interesting. Who have spent some time working at it, understanding where we are, and working hard at getting better. Well, thank you, my friend. Realize this. You can be anything you want to be, do anything you want to do, have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. All we have to do is keep going and growing and let it be.
Talk to you later,
All
Dr.
right, my friend.
Herbert.
Thank you.
Peace.
All right, and friends, listen to this and share this with at least 3 people. Let this be your Father's Day gift to somebody who needs to hear from 2 men who've been there, done that, and got a T-shirt to prove it.
Talk to you later,
right,
Dr. Harris.
Friend. Thank you. Give your website.
Please, www.thatintentionalfamily.com. Please check it out. We have the actually my Father's Day, or my 4 Steps to Engage Fatherhood book will be on sale this weekend for like $3 for the ebook copy. So please go get a copy of it. Check it out. And we also got some awesome relationship stuff dropping tomorrow. Actually, a new book for relationships for intimacy. So please check it out. That's thatintentionalfamily.com.
Thatintentionalfamily.com.
Good.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise.